Hello there everybody, how is it going and how have you been? I am EuclideanSqd, and we're back here in Duel Links to check out the newest roaming duelists, Lumis and Umbra. Now, if you don't recognize these two, don't worry. As far as I know, they only showed up for one duel in the entirety of the original series, and while that duel did last several episodes, as most duels do, as far as I remember, it wasn't anything really that special. Like, it was kind of cool seeing Yugi duel alongside Kaiba, but that was really kind of it. They're not really all that memorable, so I don't know why Konami decided to make them a character. But they did, and they actually have some decent reward cards. So let's go ahead and check out the farming deck that we will be using. Sorry for clicking right there. I actually found this deck on the GameMay website, however, they linked back to a blog spot that originally posted this deck, so I will be linking back to that blog as well, down in the description. And I have modified the deck slightly, just as usual, to make it a little bit easier for newer players and or people who can't put quite as much money into the game as most can. I will be going over the changes as I hit them, but the basic locking strategy of this deck is to rely on this good old The Unhappy Girl card. This card basically says that while it is in face-up attack position on the field, it cannot be destroyed in battle, and any monster that fights with this card cannot change its battle position or declare a further attack while this card remains in face-up attack position. So normally this is a bad thing, because it only has 400 attack points, so the general drawback is that your opponents will still be able to deal a lot of battle damage to you, even though their monsters will only be able to get off one attack before they're locked down. That is mitigated by the fact that Taya has this Holy Guard skill, which she gets at like level 3 or 4, so it's really easy to get. And Holy Guard simply states that while it is your turn, you take no battle damage. So you are free to attack all of Lumis and Umbra's, well, not all, but every single one of your turns, your Unhappy Girls are free to attack Lumis and Umbra's monsters and continually lock them down. However, there is also this trap card called Spirit Barrier. A continuous trap card. If you've seen any of my videos where I've used the Cloudian farming deck, you will be very familiar with this. You take no battle damage while you control a monster. This synergizes very well with Unhappy Girl, who cannot be destroyed by battle, and even better, Lumis and Umbra have absolutely no answer to this 2-card combo. They have no means of destroying monsters, they have no means of destroying spell and trap cards. Once you get one copy of each on the field, you just can kind of sit back and cruise through the rest of the duel, as far as I've seen. And like that's not even a joke. Like, both practice farming duels that I did before I started recording, again, as soon as I got one down, like, they didn't even bother attacking because they knew it was pointless. Like, you don't even have to attack them at that point. Their AI just recognizes that they're trapped and they just sit there doing nothing turn after turn. Additionally, there are golden ladybugs in this deck, so you use these during your standby phase to gain 500 life points each. And while the original deck calls for the Winged Dragon of Ra, I am using the replacement that I found, which is Neo-Parshoth, the Sky Paladin, and Sanctuary in the Sky. So again, this is a replacement I found a few months ago for anybody that doesn't have Ra, because I actually checked, and as far as some really old information goes, I don't think Ra is available. And in fact, I'm actually pretty confident that Ra is not available at the moment. So if you don't have Ra, I'm sorry. Everything that I looked up said that it's still only available as part of the Yami Merrick event, and I have no idea when Konami is going to be holding that again, or if they've added some kind of supplementary mission when you unlock Yami Merrick at the gate, if you even can unlock him at the gate. I'm not even sure about that, because I forgot to check, because I've been tired all day. But point being, if you do not have the Winged Dragon of Ra, you can use these 2 cards, and they are a pretty good substitute. Basically, Neo-Parshoth says that while you control Sanctuary in the Sky, this card gains attack and defense equal to the difference in your life points to your opponents, and it does piercing battle damage. So even if Lumis and Umbra have something in defense mode, you can still deal battle damage to them, and with the Golden Ladybug effects going off, it is pretty easy to get Neo-Parshoth's attack power high enough to deal at least enough damage to win. Depending on how quickly the Golden Ladybugs show up, you may miss out on 10,000, but there are some cards in the deck to help. The downside to using Neo-Parshoth and Sanctuary in the Sky as opposed to Ra is that you miss out on the dual assessment bonus for summoning a divine monster, as well as the bonus for life points on the brink, because Raw basically absorbs all but 100 of your life points and converts them to attack points. And that drops your score low enough to trigger that life points on the brink effect, so you will get a slightly lower dual assessment score playing with Neo Parshoth than you will with Raw, but that's kind of the trade-off for this guy being a little bit easier to acquire. And then lastly, we have Raimaze. This is a thunder monster that when it is destroyed in battle and sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 2 or lower light monster from your deck to your hand. You can use this to search for unhappy girls to set up the impenetrable wall, or if you need to, search out some ladybugs so that you can start getting life points pretty quickly. There's also this continuous trap card, Aegis of Gaia. When you activate it, you gain 3,000 life points. If this face-up card is removed from the field, however, you do take 3,000 damage, but you shouldn't have to worry about that because, like I mentioned, Lumis and Umbra don't have any spell and trap destruction. And at least if you build the deck identical to what I've got here, you don't have any spell and trap destruction, so you don't ever have to worry about that recoil damage. And then you have some good goblin housekeepings to kind of sift through your deck a little bit faster to get to cards. I will be getting to this normal trap in just a moment, actually, but this is another change. The original deck recipe called for a trap card called Defense Draw, and when you activate Defense Draw, basically you activate it when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you take no battle damage from the attack, and you get to draw a card. However, that trap card is a super rare from a mini box, so I don't personally have 2 copies of it, I only have 1. But more importantly, it is a super rare that could be replaced out, so I did. The general purpose of Defense Draw seems to be to just stop an attack or two, just on the off chance that Lumis and Umbra might be able to get in a direct attack before you can get an unhappy girl in play. However, Security Orb will do the exact same thing. It's just when your opponent's monster declares an attack, this card just changes it to defense position instead. There are plenty of other cards in the game that can do similar things. There is Windstorm of Itakuya, for example, which changes all of their monsters' battle positions. There are alternatives, so you don't have to use Security Orb here, but generally it is a good idea to have a few cards that can stop attacks just on the off chance that your deck decides to be finicky and they decide to get something that can scare you out. Now, for this last card, Forced Ceasefire, this card is very important to have. You discard a card from your hand, and no further trap cards can be activated until the end of this turn. This is important because Lumis and Umbra actually have a trap card that they can activate during the battle phase to immediately end the battle phase. So it is very important to get this card and have it set up before the last turn of the duel so that they cannot stop your attack. But the good news is that that is the only way they have to stop an attack from you. Because you won't be summoning Neo Parshoth until the last turn anyway, so you don't have to worry about one of their annoying equip spells. Basically, if any of the attacks from your unhappy girls do not bait out that trap card, definitely get Forced Ceasefire set and ready pretty quickly. And that's basically the deck. It's a very simple strategy, but it works. So now, let's go ahead and check out the reward cards. So in terms of the normals, these are We have Masked Clown, a level 2 Dark Warrior normal monster with 500 attack, 700 defense. Maybe you could work this into some kind of a deck, I don't know. Then you also have 3-Legged Zombies, a level 3 Dark Zombie with 1100 attack and 800 defense. Excuse me. Again, maybe you could do something with this, I don't know. Now for the rares. First up we have Darkfall. This is a trap card that says when your opponent special summons 2 or more face-up monsters at the same time, send those monsters to the graveyard, then send all monsters in the opponent's hand and deck to the graveyard that have the same name as the monsters sent to the graveyard by this effect. Now, admittedly, I don't fully know when they would be able to summon, like when you can special summon 2 monsters at the same time. Because it's not like, like complete a special summon for one and then complete a special summon for the second. It has to be both at once. So I don't know how useful this trap card is going to be, but maybe there's a new meta strategy that I don't know about. Anyway, then we have Nuvia the Wicked. This is a level 4 Dark Fiend with 2000 attack and 800 defense. If this monster is normal summoned, destroy this card. If your opponent controls any monster, decrease the attack of this card by 200 points for each monster on your opponent's side of the field. So, very finicky little card, but if you have any sort of special summoning means, I think there are some cards that can special summon out of the graveyard and end up negating effects as well, in which case, could be good, but you do have to be a little bit careful with how you use it. And then the last rare card is actually a pretty decent one, Shining Abyss, a level 4 light fairy with 1600 attack and 1800 defense. No effect because it's a normal monster, but it's actually got pretty decent stats for a level 4. So if you do happen to be new to the game, you may want to try dueling these guys and see if you can get several copies of this thing. And the 1800 defense in particular can be kind of nice when you're starting out. There's not much that the NPC duelists can do against that when in early stages. Moving on, super rares, we have Final Gesture, a spell card where you target a face-up level 3 monster you control, special summon a monster with the same name as that monster from your hand or graveyard. Its effects are negated. During the end phase of this turn, destroy the face-up monster that was targeted by this card. So, I'm sure there's uses. I'm just not familiar enough with level 3s to know what you could do with it. But considering the art shows some of the Genix tuners, I'm assuming it's kind of meant to work with that. Like you could, special summon a tuner and then synchro summon using the special summoned one before it blows up, maybe? I'm not sure. The next super rare we have is Missing Force, a level 4 Dark Warrior with 1500 attack and 1000 defense. If you control no other monsters, you contribute this card to target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of that target until the end phase. However, you cannot special summon or conduct your battle phase during the turn you activate this effect. So, not super sure what the point would be. I'm guessing that if you can protect Missing Force for a turn, you could then tribute Missing Force, steal your opponent's monster, and then tribute that off for something else, but I'm honestly not entirely sure what. And that whole strategy seems a little bit complicated. I'm sure there's something that I just don't know about, but it's here. But here we're starting to get to some of the better cards. So this is Evil Swarm Obliviwisp, a level 4 Dark Pyro with 450 attack, 2050 defense. And if this card battles a monster, after damage calculation, negate the effects of that monster, including in the graveyard. And note that there is no time-dependent clause on that. It's not until the end phase, it's not until your opponent's next turn. Just anything that fights with Obliviwisp has its effects permanently negated for the rest of the duel. Very good card. Especially because you can set it, and odds are it might just live against that attack if it's early on in the duel. And then the last super rare is Obsidian Dragon. We have a level 4 Dark Rock with 800 attack and 2100 defense. Negate the effects of spell and trap cards that target only one face-up dark monster you control and destroy them. So this thing basically says your opponent cannot enemy controller any of your dark monsters. I'm trying to think of other things that target. I'm too tired to think of anything. The one thing I want to bring up with Obsidian Dragon, however, is that it will negate your own spell and trap cards as well. So if you have this thing on the field, you can't use equip spells on any of your dark monsters. You can't target something with a quick play spell to boost its attack. Obsidian Dragon just blocks everything from targeting a dark monster. And then lastly, we have their ultra rare, Illusory Snatcher. This is a level 7 Dark Fiend with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. When you tribute summon a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, the type, attribute, and level of this card become the same as that face-up tribute summoned monster. So, in other words, when you tribute summon a monster, you get to special summon this thing for free. And while it does mimic the stats of like some of the stats of that monster. That's kind of secondary to the fact that you just get a 2400 attack point monster as a bonus during your tribute summon. So this card is very good, and what's nice is that for the duration of the event there are some special missions going on as well, which are just play against these two and win against these two a certain number of times each, and you can get a copy of Illusory Snatcher through those bonus missions. So if you keep at it, you will likely get at least one copy. It's not quite as motivational as I was hoping it would sound, but moving on, let's just go ahead and go right into a farming duel. The reason I say might is because I think Illusory Snatcher is the reward for beating Lumis and Umbra 15 times. I can check after the duel, but yeah, just you can, but depending on the quality of the cards you have access to, could be easier or harder, and I have an absolutely terrible starting hand. Wow. Okay. So they... let's see here. Now, for anybody that may have seen, or may have missed, I should say, the one duel that these two were a part of, they generally use mask cards. So, this is why I saved my security orb. This is one of the strongest monsters in their deck. This is Masked Beast Desgardius. It has to be special. It cannot be normal summoned or set. It has to be special summoned by tributing 2 monsters, including at least a Grand Tiki Elder or a Melked the Four-Faced Beast. And if this thing is ever removed from the field or sent from the field to the graveyard, you target a face-up monster your opponent controls, equip the Mask of Remnants to it, and when the Mask of Remnants is equipped through Desgardius' effect, they take control of that monster. So, this is a very potent monster that will effectively give them control of whatever you used to destroy it. Really hoping I get a monster, please. Not what I was hoping for, thank you. Alright, hopefully they respawn. Because this is just a loss due to the awful starting hand I got. Yeah, if you are dueling these two regularly, Desgardius is going to be pretty scary just because they do have 3 copies of both Grand Tiki Elder and Melked the Four-Faced Beast in their deck. And I got super rare out of it. And they also have, I don't want to say 3 copies, but I'm pretty sure they have multiple copies of an equipped spell called Mask of Brutality, which gives the equipped monster an extra 1,000 attack points. And both Melked and Grand Tiki have a base attack of 1,500. So if they give them the Mask of Brutality, they go right up to a 2,500 attack point monster, and that can be pretty difficult to get rid of while they find another monster and then special summon Desgardius. So crossing my fingers here, hoping that you guys respawn at level 40. Thank you. Let's try this again. Please do not give me a bum starting hand again. Come on now. Alright, I'm okay with going second because that means I get a draw. Let's see. Any better of a starting hand? Yes. Yep, there's the Mask of Brutality. Now, the downside to Mask of Brutality is that it does cost 1,000 life points during their standby phase to maintain, otherwise it destroys itself. So they can't keep it around forever, and unfortunately this does, if you are trying to use some kind of a farming deck that does only affect damage, well actually no, because that would still work, because Mask of Brutality still does affect damage. So yeah, ignore that. I realized the mistake before I said it. Let's go ahead and set Raime, get ready. You're going to pay 1,000 life points to keep it, and then immediately get rid of it for Desgardius. I don't know why they did that. But at least we get to see this cool summoning animation again. There we go. I mean, they could have just not paid, still had 4,000, and then special summon for Descartes anyway, but whatever. So, super fine with him destroying Raime, because now I can use her effect, search out an unhappy girl. And then I will go ahead and activate Spirit Barrier now, and we are set. Card, don't need this other Spirit Barrier, so I will go ahead and recycle it into the deck with good Goblin Housekeeping. And we got Forced Ceasefire, don't need that quite yet, but good to find it now at least. And boom, you guys cannot do anything now. I don't even need to attack it to lock it down. See? Aegis of Gaia, not going to set that just yet either. I will go ahead and normal summon Raime. And then because I don't have to worry about battle damage, go ahead and destroy it immediately to search out a Golden Ladybug. Okay. There we go. Let's see, what else do they have in their deck? Oh yeah, they do have one copy of Sonic Bird and one copy of Manju the Thousand Hands, which they will use to search for Curse of the Masked Beast and the Masked Beast, respectively, which is a ritual spell. Curse of the Masked Beast is a ritual spell that summons the Masked Beast, and Masked Beast is a level 8, I want to say, a level 8 ritual monster, I believe, that has... how many attack points does that thing have? I don't remember how many attack points it has. I want to say it's 3,000 something. Looks like we'll see. $3,200. Alright. And, just another warning, I'm pretty sure that I saw on their, like, the list of the cards in their deck, they have 2 of each of these things. So just be mindful, because while it does mean that they do have some difficulty in the early duel, especially if their RNG decides to be very obnoxious and give them a whole bunch of these things right off the bat and clog up their starting hand, getting rid of one does not necessarily mean you're in the clear. Other than that, they have... Let's see. Oh yeah, so the Mask of Remnants will only take control of a monster if it's played through Descartes' effect. If you just activate it normally, it just shuffles itself back into your deck. So it's kind of a dead draw card, and that can also slow them down a little bit. But if you're playing this deck, you really don't have to worry about that at all. In fact, I don't even know why I bothered setting a security orb. And good news is I have plenty of Ladybugs, so I will get more than enough life points to put Neo-Parshoth in 10,000 damage range without having to use Aegis of Gaia, so that was a bit of a misplay on my part. Might as well toss this. I could play Sanctuary in the Sky, I guess. I am very glad that we got those Raimes early on, because, like, I have not drawn an unhappy girl naturally yet. What was I going to say before I got distracted? Oh yeah, they have a flip effect monster in Mask of Darkness, which I believe when it's flipped face up, it just returns a trap card to their hand, I want to say. It returns something to their hand, and I think yeah, here we go. Yeah, target one trap card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. And then, they have not activated it yet, but they do have a fairly annoying equip spell called Mask of the Accursed. When it is equipped to a monster, the equipped monster cannot attack, and during each of their standby phases, it deals 500 damage to you. So, be mindful that aside from their powerhouse monsters, they do have a way of dealing slow burn damage to you. But if you've got several golden ladybugs, you can easily out-heal their Mask of the Accursed. They don't generally have that many, and at least I haven't seen them use it against an unhappy girl. Doesn't mean they don't, just means that I haven't seen it. Going to go ahead and use this. Send... let's see how many cards are left in my deck, too. So can't activate the last good Goblin Housekeeping anyway. Doesn't matter. And as far as I can remember from their card list, that's really all you have to worry about is Mask of the Accursed, Mask of Brutality, and then Descardius. Possibly a Masked Beast if they manage to get the Ritual spell and the Ritual monster for it. But typically, if you keep their monsters low, or just have good spell trap destruction capability, you shouldn't have to really worry about these guys if you're doing them normally. And as you're seeing, when you get a good starting hand, they literally cannot do anything against this. Like, normally when you're using an Unhappy Girl farm, you are encouraged to attack their monsters to try and, keep them from just even doing anything. But I don't have to. Go ahead and activate Sanctuary in the Sky right now. Not activating Forced Ceasefire just yet. And I do just want to reiterate that if you do not have Spirit Barrier, you do need to be attacking with the Unhappy Girls, because otherwise they can attack during their turn and deal battle damage to you. But once you get a Spirit Barrier, you can just kind of sit back and relax. Alright, so now let's go ahead and activate Forced Ceasefire. Let's toss our last Unhappy Girl. Normal summon for Neo-Parshoth. There we go, 19,300 attack points. So let's go ahead and destroy a Descardius. 16,000 damage. Perfect. And yes, I was recording that whole time. Good. Alright. And yeah, that's basically how to farm Lumis and Umbra in a very simple nutshell. Oh. Get a super rare on the loss, nothing but junk on the win. Such is the RNG in this game. Ignore that, that's just the glorified duelathon meter, effectively. And yeah, there you go. Now, I have done a few of these. Oh no, it's only play 15 duels against Lumis and Umbra that will get you the copy of Illusory Snatcher. So that's actually very nice. All you have to do is play against them 15 times and you're guaranteed a copy of their ultra rare. And then there are some other ones. I already achieved all of those. Stop showing me stuff. I don't care about the deck lists. Ugh. But yeah, the bonus missions are like, play against them. It's like 3... Actually, I think I can check here. If I go to recommended reward. I think there's more than this. But win a duel, you get a Shining Abyss. Win 3, you get Final Gesture. Win 7, you get Obsidian Dragon. Play 15, you get Illusory Snatcher. And as usual, surrenders are not counted. So you can't just start a duel and then immediately quit. You have to play it to completion. But yeah, that's the Lumis and Umbra event. Very simple roaming duelists with a very simple farming deck. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a great time, and I hope you all have a great day. And I will see you all in the next one.